We are starting with the audio test. It's a Samsung Galaxy A55, almost a year-old phone, released March of last year. It has 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 5 megapixel macro. The selfie video recording can shoot 4K 30 FPS as well as the ultra wide lens. Look at the quality and the audio. Now let's switch to Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. And this is the new Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. This is the global version. This has 200 megapixel sensor, main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 megapixel macro. You also have a 20 megapixel selfie that can shoot 1080p video recording. But in terms of colors, not looking on the numbers 4K versus 1080p, which phone do you think is better in terms of contrast, colors? I think the one in Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G is better in terms of colors. On Galaxy A55 is a little bit washed out. But we're testing the audio, so let me know which phone is better. You may also hear background noise because of the wind and the cars. A quick side-by-side test on the selfie. Again, I mentioned about 4K video recording versus 1080p. And the colors, it's stronger on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. A little bit washed out, and you may say natural looking on Galaxy A55. But which do you think is better? Now let's check some portrait shots.
La luna, make me an ocean, back forth just like my emotion.
Let's start with the rear cameras, and both phones only has one focal length. They're both using the main sensors, but Galaxy A55 is using the full FOV of the main sensor, while Redmi is cropping in around 50%. I turned off all the beautification mode on both phones, but you will notice that Xiaomi Redmi is still smoothing my face a little bit and making it brighter. In terms of contrast, you will notice that Galaxy A55 is stronger, looking at my shirt, pants, and cap. Because A55 is wider, it also distorts my face and my body, while Redmi, since it's punching it a little bit on the subject, there's no distortion on my face and body, which is really nice. You can also adjust the background blur on both phones, but by default, the background blur on Galaxy A55 is so much creamier than the competition. On the selfie shooter, you would notice that there's more details on Galaxy A55 looking at my jacket and my face. And in terms of white balance, Xiaomi Redmi is more vivid than the competition. Galaxy A55 is natural looking, and I think on some shots, I prefer the look on the Galaxy phone. Also, you will have two focal lengths on Galaxy A55. We have a wider FOV if we need to squeeze in more people in the frame.
Walking towards the sunset, I'm surprised I haven't made it.
We are doing the vlogging test using the main sensor of Samsung Galaxy A55. There's two things I like about this phone. You have micro SD card slot if you want to expand the storage of your phone, and you also have 4K video recording on both the ultra wide lens and the selfie camera. So again, if you're doing vlogging, then this phone might be the better choice. And this is the vlogging test on a Xiaomi Redmi phone. Again, in 4K 30 FPS. There's no portrait video or cinematic on both phones. Understandable because both are mid-range phones. I like a lot of things about this phone. First is the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3. If you're a gamer, just pick this phone. I think this phone will provide better gaming experience compared to Galaxy A55. In terms of durability, you have Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 and 7i at the back, so it will provide better protection on the phone. You also have the curved glass display on the front, so it's flashier than Galaxy A55. I think in terms of software support, they're almost the same because you have a longer software support on Galaxy A55, but it's almost 1 year old, so they would end up the same way. Both phones can do dual video recording, starting with Samsung Galaxy A55. This is what it looks like. And this is Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. So again, in terms of vlogging, you both have the same features. You have 4K video recording on the ultra wide lens on Galaxy A55. So if you're using that focal length, then Galaxy is better. But in terms of dual video recording, both can shoot 1080p 30 FPS. On the image quality test, I think both phones will not disappoint on daylight condition. On a perfect world scenario, they will produce the same looking shots, but there's a slight difference between the two. The exposure on the Redmi is brighter than the competition, which makes the colors a little bit brighter too. The white balance is very similar. Also, if you're looking on a bigger screen, you will notice that there's more details on Galaxy A55 on the fabrics and the teddy bears. I also think that the colors is more natural looking than the competition. But if you're not doing a side-by-side test, I think you would love any of the daytime images of both phones. I also think naturally the 200 megapixel sensor on Xiaomi Redmi provides more out-of-focus area, so you will have natural background blur on the Xiaomi phone compared to Galaxy A55. In terms of flaring, Galaxy A55 is a little bit stronger. Xiaomi manages the flaring better. I think this is more of software processing, although Galaxy only has 50 megapixel, but there's more details on the subject, and Xiaomi with 200 megapixel tends to smoothen the surface. Both phones can shoot ultra-wide and wide, and similarly, they have macro cameras, 2 megapixel on the Redmi versus 5 megapixel on Galaxy, and the latter provides more details and better noise reduction on the macro shot. Both mid-range phones can shoot 1080p 120 FPS on the max resolution on slow motion, a little bit brighter on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. This is the video quality test. Video stabilization 2. Galaxy A55 versus Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. Both phones are the latest models of Samsung and Xiaomi, but Galaxy A55 is older. So you have 0.5, which is a little bit wider on A55, and 0.6 on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. This is the global version. If we check the colors of the sky, it is bluer on Galaxy A55. I wouldn't say natural looking on Xiaomi, because I think in terms of colors, A55 is still closer in real life. Also, you can switch sensors on Galaxy A55, not as smooth as the flagship phones. So it jumps right in 1x. Not as smooth as the flagship lineup. Let's do the video stabilization quickly. Which phone is better in terms of stabilization? Now let's switch to the main camera. And this is the main sensor in 4K 30 FPS, so the proper comparison begins. Look at the exposure on the tree. I think it's darker on Xiaomi. It crushes the blacks, the shadows, while it's better exposed on Galaxy A55. I like the color though. I mean, it's a personal preference, to be honest. But in terms of details, yeah, this is proper 4K. You can see a lot of details on both phones. And in terms of colors, which phone is warmer? I think Galaxy A55 is a warmer white balance. I don't know if it's just the screen of the phone. I will correct this in post-production if I'm wrong. Don't worry. In terms of colors, I think they're almost the same. On the ultra-wide lens, it's more vivid on Galaxy A55. But in the main sensor, I think they're almost the same colors on the sky. Now let's check the video stabilization. Now we're switching to the digital zoom. So this is 2x on both phones. So Samsung Galaxy A55 can go as far as 10x, and Xiaomi can go as far as 6x. In terms of quality, again, these are all digital zooms. I think they're almost the same. I'd probably give it to Xiaomi. It's a 200 megapixel readout. You can see it's clearer, less noise. Again, I will give Galaxy A55 the exposure. Switching back to the main sensor. and the selfie, which phone do you think is better?
Late night feels like more love.
The ultra-wide lens and main sensor of both phones can shoot night shots. Xiaomi Redmi has more contrasty look and more natural looking, while Galaxy tends to brighten the image. I think this is a matter of personal taste.
Pops up on my phone. It might sound stupid, but I could listen to you.
You got a more natural looking night shot on Xiaomi phone, and Galaxy gives a brighter exposure, again, a matter of personal preference, but I think the colors on Samsung is popping out a little bit more compared to the competition.
You can't call me tonight. Don't need no reason. It's not urgent. Your voice is medicine.
I think the biggest test on night shot is pitch black condition. You will notice that Galaxy A55 has better autofocus and exposure compared to Xiaomi Redmi. And this is the low light video test, starting with Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. It can only shoot 1080p 30 FPS. We're also using the internal microphones on both phones, so you will hear audio differences. And this is the latest mid-range from Samsung Galaxy A55, a little bit older compared to Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. This is in 4K 30 FPS using the selfie camera. If you look at the details, this is better. It's in 4K 30 FPS, still using the internal microphone on both phones. A quick side-by-side test on both of the selfie cameras. Again, 1080p on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G and 4K 30 FPS on Galaxy A55. We're switching to the rear cameras. Now, this is the low-light video recording test, starting with the ultra-wide lens using the rear cameras in 4K 30 FPS on Galaxy A55, only 1080p 30 FPS on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. Good thing about the Galaxy A55 is you can switch on different focal lengths. Once you fire the recording, you cannot do it on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. Once you hit the recording, then you're stuck with the focal length. So, in terms of exposure, Galaxy A55 is better exposed. And again, in terms of details, you have more details on Galaxy A55. It is in 4K 30 FPS. In terms of flaring, I think they're almost the same. Xiaomi Redmi might be controlling it better. Let's check the video stabilization. Now we're switching to the main camera. And this is the main sensor in 4K 30 FPS on both phones. Xiaomi can record 4K 30 FPS on the main sensor. In terms of exposure, looking at this core, again, better exposed on Galaxy A55. And if you look in the building, again, Galaxy A55 is brighter. I might be wrong on this live commentary. I will fix this in post-production. If you look on the white balance, I think Galaxy A55 is warmer than the competition. If you look on that tree, it's still exposed on Galaxy A55. Now let's check the video stabilization. Now let's check the digital zoom. Now this is 2x digital zoom on both phones. Also both in 4K 30 FPS. If you look on the exposure, again, I think Galaxy A55 is better exposed than the competition. Look at that. Bus or truck. In terms of flaring, I think they're almost the same. Now, in terms of details, I don't know. I think they're almost the same. Let me know in the comment section below. But in terms of colors, I can see that it's closer in real life on Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G. And if you look on the for the zoom, you can go 6x on Xiaomi and 10x on Galaxy A55. If we switch to 6x also, which phone has better quality? I think Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus, but let me know in the comment section below. I think it's a little bit cartoonish on A55 now. Again, it can go as far as 10x. If you get the answers you need, don't forget to hit that like button. I think more than the cameras, there's more comparison that needs to be tested on both phones. But clearly Galaxy A55, although almost a year old, will still compete with the latest mid-range phones today. We have a 4K video recording on the ultra-wide and the selfie. I'm not really a fan of the selfie camera of A55, but you get a good 4K resolution. Images are really good and also has better night shot. I'm just not a fan of the portrait shots either. And again, more than just a camera, I think generally Xiaomi Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G is more powerful, more durable, and better looking than Galaxy A55. In terms of camera performance, Xiaomi will not give you everything from 4K recording. Again, this phone is so much cheaper than the competition, but you really have good portrait shot, better and louder audio and video, acceptable night shot, and overall the 4K video recording of the rear 200 megapixel sensor is very good.